the coming weekend,
Okay.
and I will give you an update on that.
Fine. Okay. Got it.
Thanks.
Okay. So since Felix is not there, we'll try to cover a very small topic. Okay. But a quite important topic as well. So the topic what we are going to discuss today is this is with respect to something called security groups. Okay, so just to revise quickly on what we have done till now. Okay, we have talked about a Windows VM and a Linux VM. Okay, so you have Windows which is accessing the server on port 3389 and Linux VM which is being accessed on port 22. Okay, the protocol here is called RDP. Okay, and this is SSH. So without enabling RDP, okay, without having RDP in place, I cannot access my virtual machine. Okay, so that is okay. Sorry, wrong account. Okay, this is my virtual machine. So this is my Windows. Oh, this is stopped. Okay, I'll go to this one. Public IP address. So if I just click on this and try to connect this to this particular virtual machine, I am getting prompted with the credentials. Okay, so if credentials are getting prompted, that means my server is accessible. That is the first basic rule. Okay, if I'm able to reach that server, okay, credentials are accessible to me. Okay, also I think I can ping the server as well. Okay, ping, ping, and then the IP. Okay, so go to command prompt, ping, and then the IP. Okay, and then you should be able to see the response. If there is no response, that means that the particular port for which you need to like the ping should work is not working or it is not opened. Okay, so depending on that, uh, okay, it's not pinging. Fine. So depending on that, you need to work on something called security groups. Okay, security groups are nothing but security groups consist of two things. One is an inbound rule, the other one is an outbound rule. Okay, so for let's say now I'm able to access my virtual machine, right? We all saw that we are able to access the virtual machine. Now what I'm going to do is just to test this particular thing. Okay, what I'm going to do, instead of this action being allowed, I'm going to deny it. I'm saying that deny port 3389. Okay, deny port 3389. I'm just going to do that. Okay, and I am clicking on save. So this is my security group. Okay, this is my network security group. Okay, very important topic. So what I have done is I have said that the protocol name is RDP. Okay, the port number which is it's going to use is 3389. Okay, and what is the action? Deny that particular action. So what will happen here is when I try to access this particular VM, okay, it will take at least 1 to 2 minutes, and then once the rule gets applied, okay, this particular VM will not be accessible because I have denied my access to RDP. Okay, just give it some time, at least to yeah, done. Right. So here you are able to see that the action for RDP has been denied. Now let's see what happens if I delete this particular rule. Let's say I am deleting this particular rule. Will that stand the same? Yes. The answer is yes. You need a explicitly mentioned rule saying that this particular port needs to be allowed. Okay. So that is the reason why you have something called as security group. The topic which we are going to discuss today is network security group. Okay, network security group. Okay, remember one thing, network security group can be defined at two levels. One is at the NIC level of the current VM. Okay, and the second thing is it can also defined at the subnet of the VM. Okay, subnet of the VM, it can also be defined. Okay, so these are the two things, two places where you can define your NIC, define your security group. Okay, fine. So, sorry, that was someone at my door. Okay, yeah. So, these are the two places where you can apply your network security. One is the NIC. This is where my NIC is. Okay, you see here, this is my network interface card. This network interface card is attached to the network security group. You can see web server 1 is the network security group to which it is attached. Okay, and the second place is the subnet. Okay, so these are the two places where you can define your network security group. So once you're defining at the subnet, whatever VMs are part of that subnet will have that particular security group. That means it's applied to all the VMs in that subnet. Okay, and NIC is something specific to that particular VM. Okay, very important interview question where all you can like apply security groups. One is at the NIC level, the other one is the subnet level. Okay, fine. Moving on, what is a network security group? It is basically like a firewall. Okay, it is a firewall which will allow and deny any ports or protocols to be accessed. Okay, so network security group is basically consisting of two things. One is an inbound rule, the other one is outbound rule. Okay, so it is a very simple concept. Any traffic, any traffic. So what is a traffic? A protocol. Any request. Okay, that is called a traffic. Any traffic coming into the server. Okay, coming into the VM is inbound traffic. Okay, any traffic which is coming into the server is inbound traffic. Any traffic which is leaving the VM, okay, which is leaving the VM is outbound traffic. Okay, just go through the definition again. Inbound rule, any traffic which is coming into the VM. That means any traffic you're giving, let's say you are trying to RDP a particular VM. Let me put this scenario like this. Okay, this is my laptop. Okay, I want you guys to unmute and answer. Okay, one by one. I'll call out names, just answer. So this is my laptop. This is my virtual machine. Okay, from my laptop, let's say this is a Windows VM. Let me be more precise, Windows VM, and I am trying to access on port 3389 via RDP. Okay, now what I'm doing, who's the requester here? Can someone tell me which of these two entities, whether laptop or the Windows VM, is the requester?
Laptop.
Laptop is the requester. So this is the requester, and which is receiving the traffic, this is the receiver. Okay, so this is the receiver. Now you guys tell me from the perspective of this particular Windows VM. Okay, the traffic is flowing this way. Okay, to this Windows VM, is it an inbound traffic or an outbound traffic for this Windows VM? Which the
Inbound traffic.
Okay, Vijay
Inbound.
inbound, Dilip inbound, Karthik,
This is inbound.
Felix.
Yes, inbound.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so it is quite clear. Any traffic which is coming inside a server is called an inbound traffic. Any traffic which is leaving a server is an outbound traffic. Okay, now let's say I have another Windows VM. I have another Windows VM, and the port number is 3389, and again I'm trying to RDP. Okay, but I am trying to RDP from this server. Okay, from VM1 I'm trying to RDP VM2. Okay, from VM1 I'm trying to RDP VM2. So what happens for VM1? Is it an inbound traffic or an outbound traffic?
Outbound.
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 Okay, and for VM1, VM2.
Inbound.
VM down, it's inbound.
Inbound.
Okay, perfect. Okay, this is the whole concept of security groups. Any traffic which is coming into a server is an inbound traffic. Any traffic which is leaving a server is called an outbound traffic. Okay, now you understand why we opened RDP on this particular server. Okay, because that is an inbound traffic to that server. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain the different entities you have while you are trying to put a rule, a rule on your security group. Okay, so the first thing is source. Source can be anything. Okay, it can be it can be an IP address, it can be my IP address, any service tag, any application security group. Okay, so when you talk about any means the traffic is coming from anywhere. Okay, and anyone across the world can access this particular VM. Okay, the second thing is if you want to specify a particular IP address, you can specify that here. Let's say 23 32 12 21. Okay, this is an IP address. Only from this IP address you want that particular VM to be accessible, you do that. Okay, and my IP address, it will search for your IP. Okay, it just you can also do this. You can, to verify what is your IP, you can just put what is my IP here, and then you'll be able to get the IP. Okay, so this is a new feature they have added. Okay, wherein you put my IP address, only from your IP it will be accessible. Okay, what are the different port ranges, which I'll mute you. What are the different port ranges which are accessible? Okay, different source port ranges through which it is accessible. If you say star, that means via any port it is okay for my VM to be accessible. If I want a particular port here, I can specify a particular port, but that is not required because source is something which we are not concerned about. The concern here is about the destination. Okay, so destination, do you want any, okay, or do you want an IP address? Do you want a service tag or an application security group? So in certain cases, there are VMs which will have multiple IPs. Okay. So for that reason only you have this option called IP addresses. Okay. But most of the cases, since it's we are using security group inside a NIC that is subject to only one VM, the most cases or 99% of the times destination stays as any. So what is the service we are trying to access for RD, that is for Windows, that is RDP. Okay, just search for RDP. Okay, and you should be able to automatically this will get locked. This is a TCP protocol. The action you want to do, is it allow or deny? Okay, what is the action which you want to do? Okay, and name of the rule. What exactly do you want the rule name to be? Okay, and depending on that, and you have one more concept called priority. Okay, so priority is something which is like a precedence, okay, which takes precedence. Okay, I'll quickly explain what is priority. Let's say I have a rule number 100 says allow RDP. Okay, allow RDP for all, and then rule number 110, which priority number 110 says deny RDP for all. Okay, deny RDP for all. Can you guys tell me what will happen? Will I be able to RDP or will I not be able to RDP? Just take a guess. I don't expect you to answer this correctly, but try to take a guess. Will I be able to RDP or not?
For which priority, sir?
No, no. The question is rule number priority number 100 says allow RDP. Priority number 110 says deny RDP. I have two rules. 100 says allow, 110 says deny. Will I be able to RDP or will I not be able to RDP? The answer is I will be able to RDP.
Yes.
Okay.
Does it functions in the first in first serve basis?
Exactly. Okay. Yeah, correct.
Okay.
So deny RDP to all. Let's say now I'm changing it. Okay. Rule number 100 says deny RDP to all. Rule number 110 says allow RDP to all. Now you tell me same concept you apply and tell me whether I will be able to RDP or not.
Deny RDP.
Okay, unable to RDP because rule number 100 says deny RDP for all. So whichever has a least will take the precedence. Okay, that is the concept. Clear, guys?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fine. Okay. This is done. So what I'll do is I'll put it as any and destination as any RDP. Okay, 3389 allow, and if you want to have an optional description, you can go ahead and do that. Okay, I'll click on save. And then once I am done with that, I retain my access to my virtual machine. Okay, so this is with respect to inbound rule. Outbound rule, usually we do not work on outbound rules. Okay, because it is something uh, which is not necessary from a company's perspective. You don't need much to work on an outbound rule, but I will still explain. Okay, source, same, destination, whatever. Source is basically your virtual machine. Your destination is going to be the virtual machine you want to connect to. Okay, and the port number through which you want it to be accessed. Let's say if you're trying to RDP, why we can use possibly because only when you want to restrict the connections. Okay, restrict connection from this to this. Okay, only then you need to use outbound. So let's say we have a criteria. Okay, we have a criteria saying VM2 should be RDP'd. Okay, RDP'd via VM1 only. If we have such criteria, only then, even then, I don't think you need this. Okay, but how can you do this? VM2 should be RDP'd only via VM1. Fine. Okay. That is too early. Wait, I'll put it this way. Okay. VM2, VM1, okay, should access, if I have a rule saying VM1 should access only VM2. Okay, that means I am restricting the access say for VM1 saying only VM1 should access only VM2. That is when outbound rules will come into picture. Not even for the first case. Okay, VM2 should be RDP'd only via VM1. It's okay. You can modify it the other way around from a different perspective, but for this case, then that is when extra outbound rule will come into picture. Okay, but most cases you do not actually use outbound rules. Okay, so you always play around with the inbound port rules. Okay, so apart from that, you have other three default rules which come to your security group by default. Okay, 65,000, 65,001, and 65,500. Okay, so the first one says that allow VNet inbound. Okay, that means any port, okay, any protocol, if the source is of the same VNet and the destination is on the same VNet, allow. Okay, this is within the VNet, allow anything. Okay, and the second one is related to load balancer, allow Azure load balancer. Okay, any port, any protocol, if the source is a load balancer and the destination is anything like a virtual machine or a VNet or any destination, then the action says allow. Apart from that, apart from these two criterias, if I do not have anything, deny all inbound. Okay, so what will happen? These two will pass. Apart from that, whatever connection is there, okay, deny all inbound says any port, any protocol, any source, any destination, the action is denied. That means if these two criterias are not there, anything apart from that, okay, like a HTTP protocol from anywhere or not, that is not specified here, right? So if it is not here, it will automatically get denied. Okay, so I don't think you can delete these rules. Okay, these three default rules are there for inbound as well as outbound. Okay, so I don't think you can delete these rules. Okay, and these rules are essential in order to maintain the security of your virtual machine. Okay, so apart from that, explicitly you want to do anything, you want to add rules, this is where you can play around. Okay, source, destination, the different types of protocols are there. Okay, you want HTTP, HTTPS, SSH, MySQL, PostgreSQL, all these things. Okay, DNS, SMTP, everything you can play around using this particular thing. Okay, always remember priority, the one with the least priority will take the precedence, ones with the higher one will get executed later. Okay, so these are the things with respect to security groups. Okay, any doubts, anything which you're not clear about? If you are clear, say yes, I'll move on. There is a demo for this. If you're not clear with anything, ask me. Guys, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Clear, right?
You are audible.
Okay. Fine. So we have a demo here, okay, which I expect you guys to do. So basically, this is just a practical application of what we just learned, and just to apply and think from Azure perspective, I'm just trying to do this demo. Okay, so we have your laptop, okay, and we obviously have a Windows VM. Okay, we are going to call it Windows 1. Okay, and we also have another Windows VM, okay, which is Windows 2, okay, and we also have a Linux VM, okay, Linux, Linux 1, okay. So what you can do is try to complete it within 15 minutes or so, okay, very simple. I have around three criterias, okay, just three rules, three set of rules which you need to satisfy. Okay, first one is Windows 1. Okay, I'll just mention it as W1. W1 should be accessible, okay, only from your own laptop. Okay, Obviously, you know how you are going to access it. 3389. That is the port number. Okay. So Windows 1 should be accessible only from your laptop. So if anyone else apart from you tries, okay, let's say for Karthik is working on this. If I try to IDP, if he gives me the public IP and I try to IDP, it should not happen. That is the first criteria. Second one is Windows 2 should be accessible from Windows 1. Okay. From Windows 1 and only via private IP. Okay. So again, you are going to okay, I'll leave it to you. Okay. W2 should be accessible from W1. Okay. You are going to put that on the same VNet. Okay. Just put all the VMs on the same VNet. Okay. W2 should be on the should be accessible from W1. Okay. But only via private IP. So what I do is I go to Windows 1, I give the public IP of this particular server. It should not be accessible. Okay. That is the criteria. Third one, Linux 1 should be accessible only from Windows 1. And this is via public IP. Okay. So these are the three criteria which you need to satisfy. Okay. So what you can do is, yeah, you can start doing it. Okay. You can take around 20 minutes. This will probably not take more than 20 minutes. If you have any doubts, we'll try to finish it by today's class. Okay. Let's not take it to tomorrow. We'll try to finish it by today. If you have any doubts. Okay. You can start doing it. Any questions with the task? Anything which you're not clear about? Guys, respond. Yes, no.
Actually, I joined 10 minutes late for this class.
Yeah, this I mean I also started around 7:40. I just started with this concept only.
Okay, okay, then okay.
You understood, right? Security groups, inbound, outbound, you understood.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, fine. That is pretty much it. We were discussing about that snapshots and disks. I hope you have done that.
I am having doubt also. At the end of the class, I will ask you.
No, you can ask right away. You can ask. No problem.
Actually, I have created VMs and I
Okay.
have created that folder and all. I have created the snapshots also.
Okay.
But from Windows 1 to Windows 2, how to swap that snapshots? I don't have any idea about that.
I think we discussed. If you think a little more, I think you'll be getting it. You're almost there. Okay. You have
Yeah,
taken
yeah,
snapshot. You've
yeah,
taken
yeah.
snapshot. What next?
We have to create the disk. We have to copy that snapshot to the second one, first one
No,
to second one.
no. You have to swap it, right?
Yeah,
So what you do is you have two snapshots.
yeah.
Convert the snapshots to disks.
Okay.
Swap the disk
Oh,
with the original VMs. Done.
okay. Now I got it.